Brigitte Mary Dowdell Pugia. She now is my rainbow bridge and guardian, my ancestor. I miss you so much, Mama Lulu.
My name is Barbara, and I'm here to honor Bob, my husband of 30 years. This holiday season, I want to assure him that the whole family is doing great. I believe that he had such a positive view of life that it still affects us all. I love you and miss you forever.
Today I'm remembering my grandfather, Fred Hugel, my sister, Kathy Hurt, and my uncle, Fred Droston, with a heart full of love.
My son Joseph had so much goodness, so much capacity to bring happiness to others. He cared about people in the purest way. He loved everyone for who they were, and because he wished the best for them, he never asked for anything in return. We love you, Joey.
This is in honor of my late husband, Guy Carrion, who was my calm for 24 years.
I'm doing this in remembrance and honor of my son, Micah Christopher. He had the most contagious laugh, the naughtiest grin, and the best hair, and he is missed.
I am honoring my husband, Mark. I love and miss how you make me laugh.
I love how funny and kind my dad was.
Today we remember Lily, our sweet little girl.
We love you. And all of our heart, Lily.
We love you.
Today I honor the memory of my beautiful daughter Liz. Her smile always lit up the room.
This is for my mom who passed 5 years ago. Mom, there isn't a day that I don't think of you, love you, miss you, and every time I find something that belongs to you, it makes me feel closer to you.
I'd like to honor Isabella Kress, the daughter of my good friend Anna. Isabella was creative, passionate, adventurous. She was a chef, a teacher, a poet, a lover of sunflowers. She was an inspiration. She was a good friend to many, and a loyal sister, and a devoted and loving daughter.
Today, I honor my best friend, my husband, the father of my children, Kaz Hannah. We miss you and we love you.
This is in remembrance of our son RJ, who we will always love and remember.
I'm Laura McAvoy, Chairman of the Livingston Memorial Visiting Nurse Association and Hospice. Like you, Livingston has been deeply affected by COVID-19. Yet our amazing clinicians and caregivers have been seeing more patients than ever throughout 2020. We have adjusted, more virtual meetings, more communications with technology, mask wearing, social distancing. Yet our need to be together is greater than ever. And we miss you, and we miss hugs. So we have revised how we present Light Up, and we appreciate so much your participation and interest in what has been happening with Livingston. So we have still met the core purposes of Livingston, and we have come to this event of Light Up to do our important remembering of our loved ones, our friends, our family, and our community. We want to thank so much our many sponsors who've made it possible for Livingston to continue to meet its mission and to host this virtual Light Up event. There are too many names for me to read, but those names will appear throughout this opportunity for you to see them. So we thank them again. This is the 36th year of Light Up, a tradition that is more important than ever, probably the most important year as possible as we've all experienced 2020. One of the wonderful Livingston people is Stacia Sickle, our Director of Community Grief and Bereavement Programs. She has interaction with the families, friends, volunteers, and staff. And we are so grateful for all that she does to enhance Livingston's mission delivery.
Hi, I'm Stacia Sickle, and I'm the Director of Livingston Memorial's Grief and Bereavement Program. I wish we could all be together at our Light Up event this year, but unfortunately we can't. So I've put together a few things I'd like to share with you about grief and the holidays. So when we rang in 2020, none of us could have predicted what was to come. We had hopes for the new year, expectations, plans. The pandemic has drastically altered our daily lives, challenged our coping mechanisms, isolated us from those we love, and threatened our sense of security and safety. The sorrow of the world and our own personal sorrows may feel especially overwhelming. We all feel the collective anguish, anxiety, and frustration. If you experience the death of a loved one during this time, you may find that your grief feels more complicated. You may have been restricted from your loved one's bedside, unable to provide love and comfort, a final goodbye. Funerals and other grief rituals have been put on hold because we've been told no large gatherings, therefore minimizing much-needed support. Despite the new trend of drive-by support, it can't replace human connection. Social distancing has resulted in social isolation for many. Zoom became a new phenomenon, and virtual connection became a way of life. My family turned to Zoom after an unexpected death of a loved one. It gave us the opportunity to share our grief, but left me wanting more. The social, health, and economic uncertainty we are experiencing calls upon us to turn to that which grounds us, especially now. Holidays hold historic meaning for us. Our traditions and rituals are passed down from generations and embedded in our family's culture. Traditions help to define who we are, where we come from. Holiday memories are held in our mind, body, and soul. Healing does not occur in a timely or orderly fashion. Grief is messy. Therefore, it's important to not only engage your pain, but to find ways to evade your pain too. This takes motivation and intention to surrender to your grief and identify ways you can take a break from your grief. In order to live in this changed life, to make it as good as you can, reconciling this loss is essential and does not happen with time, but with intentional acknowledgement, engagement, and purpose. Loss makes us more aware of what's important, highlights what we can change, and challenges us to accept what we can't. I can't change this pandemic. I can't go back in time. I can't reverse death. But I can find solace in connecting with those I love this holiday season. I can decide what traditions are important to me. I can take time to care for myself and to intentionally engage my grief through active mourning. As poet Mary Oliver said, we only have this one wild and precious life. We have to draw upon our resilience and ask ourselves, what is important to me? How will I honor my loved one? What holiday traditions will I keep this year? Which ones will I let go of, as I also honor the life I've been given? And remember, you got this.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dr. Lanyard Dial, and I am privileged to be the medical director that oversees our hospice care. Our Light Up celebration every year honors people who have passed away in our lives. We have a tradition of bringing one family forward to light our tree. So I'd like to introduce to you Melissa Kierkegaard. Melissa is the daughter of Seymour Einstos and Esther Einstos. Esther passed away on our hospice care in 2008, and Seymour passed away the beginning of this year. I invite Melissa up to say a few words and to light our tree.
Thank you, Dr. Dial. My family lost our dad, Cy Einstos, January 13th at 1300 of 2020. 13 was his favorite number. I think of hospice as a support crew that facilitates a family in giving care to their loved one. And my sisters, Teresa and Becky, and my brother, Tom, want to thank the nurses, the aides, the social worker, and the night call operators for all of their help. Caring for a loved one can be difficult, but my dad was always so appreciative, and he kept saying he never expected to be taken care of by his kids or to be surrounded by so much family. The reason he didn't expect it was because he grew up in a Jewish orphanage in New York City, but he wasn't an orphan. His parents split up after he was born, and his mom worked full-time in the garment industry. His grandma watched him until he was 2, but then due to illness, she couldn't watch him anymore. So his mom put him into the orphanage. She would visit, and he would beg her to take him out, but she wouldn't do it. When he was 11, his father came and took him out of the orphanage. The only positive experience he had in the orphanage was one of the directors could see that he was smart and was good at building and fixing models. So she had him come to her living quarters to play with her kids so he could teach them how to build and fix the models. That love of fixing things stuck with him. And when he went to high school, he asked to go to a trade school where he learned welding, plumbing, and electricity. And electricity was his favorite subject. After high school, he wanted to become an electrician, but he said the unions were run by the mafia. So instead, he went to a free college in upstate New York and got a degree in industrial arts and focused on electronics, which became his career when he joined the Navy. Later as a contractor for the military, and eventually starting his own repair business. After his rough family life, he had trouble learning how to trust people and to build relationships, but that all changed when he met our mother, Esther. They met in a bar in Milwaukee when he was in the Navy, and they fell in love, talking about books on a dance floor. They were married just a few months later. The Navy chaplain refused to marry them. He said, since my mother was a girl from Wisconsin on a farm and he was a Jewish boy from New York City, he said their marriage would never last. They were happily married for 52 years until our mother's passing in 2008. Our mom had a difficult childhood also, but together they supported each other and had a really deep, loving bond. When our mom was on hospice, the love that they had for each other was palpable to anyone who entered the room. Our dad would always tell his nurses about our mother with such admiration and love because he was so proud of her becoming a nurse. She started college at the age of 38 after having 4 kids and went on to get her master's degree at UCLA and then to come back and teach nursing at Ventura College. He dated after she passed away, and he enjoyed these relationships, but he never stopped talking about our mom and telling us that she was the love of his life, which meant so much to all of us. Our dad started commuting to work on his bike in the 1970s when he opened his own electronic repair business, the Electronic Instrument Clinic in Ventura. He discovered biking when he got his first job delivering groceries after he got out of the orphanage. He told his mom he was working at a summer camp when he was 16, and instead he took his bike and rode it all over the East Coast, staying in youth hostels all summer. When he was in his 70s, he started having trouble getting up the hills due to heart problems, so he designed his own electric bike. He even took his bike out for a few wobbly rides while on hospice at the age of 88. He loved sharing his joy with his family, especially his grandkids and great-granddaughter. No one could laugh harder at his own jokes than our dad, and his laughter was so infectious. He loved breaking rules and would get this sparkle in his eye when he thought he was getting away with something. He could fix anything, especially with duct tape and some type of bonding glue. He really had this amazing ability with electronics. If the TV would start acting up and we were kids, we would start calling for Dad. And as soon as he would walk into the room, it would start working. This would happen over and over, and it drove our mother crazy. So it seems appropriate that we were honored with lighting the tree this year in honor of our dad. But don't be surprised if the tree lights start flickering. Thank you again to the entire hospice team and the volunteer, Scott Ripple, for coming to record our dad's stories. It was an honor to care for our dad and show him the love that he and our mom had shown for us, and we couldn't have done it without all the support from Livingston.
Good evening. My name is Stanford Parks. I am Naval-based Ventura County's Installation Gold Star Coordinator. The Navy Gold Star program, we provide long-term support for families who lost a service member while on active duty. I cover all of California, all of Japan, and all of Korea. While our families are on their long journey to find their new normal, I call our families to check in on them to see how they're doing. I cry with our families. I laugh with our families. I provide vital resources for our families on their day-to-day struggles. Due to COVID-19, we are unable to hold our holiday event. And now, I'd like to read a few of our California service members. Petty Officer Second Class, Quinn Teeter. Petty Officer Second Class, Mark Santos. Petty Officer Third Class, Daniel Perez. Petty Officer Second Class, Selena Young. Petty Officer Third Class, Oscar Tamores. Petty Officer Third Class, Tyler Montes. Petty Officer Second Class, Brandon Olson. And now, I would like to introduce Karsten, a member of Livingston Memorial's bereavement team. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Karsten Van Sander, and I'm a spiritual care counselor with Livingston. And spiritual care, sometimes people ask me, what on earth is that? It's really being a human being, going through difficult times and trying to make meaning of that, trying to somehow find the things that give us strength, that give us hope during difficult times. And this has been a difficult year, as I'm sure you've noticed. It's been a crazy year in many ways for us collectively as a society. And on top of that, I assume many of you watching this have experienced your own trauma, your own loss, your own letting go. And that's not been easy. And so often I find it's when we don't quite know what the future holds, it's good to look back for a moment and to recenter ourselves and to remember. And so I'd like to invite you to join me in a reading. I'm going to be reading a line, and at the end of every line, if you feel led to do that, you can just say, "We remember them," and bring to mind the person that you love. So I'm going to just begin. At the rising of the sun and at its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. At the shining of the sun and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. And at the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and at its end, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick of heart, we do remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we do remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have great achievements that are based on their achievements, we remember them. For as long as we live, they too shall live, as we remember them. Thank you.
I want to thank you for joining us during this event. I know it's been a different event than we've usually had because of it being virtual in nature. But we do think that this opportunity to honor your loved ones could not be passed up, even in the time of a pandemic. We want to close our event tonight with a tribute to all of our loved ones with a video. So please enjoy the video. Thank you so much for joining us.
Recuérdame, hoy me tengo que ir, mi amor. Recuérdame, no llores, por favor. Te llevo en mi corazón y cerca me tendrás. A solas yo te cantaré, soñado en nuestra estar. Recuérdame.